Good morning. It's morning here. Hello, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your February 2018 general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. Thank you for those of you who continue to follow my channel, all your likes, shares, subscribes, your support, your feedback, and your comments. And as always, thank you to both my regular and new clients for keeping me so busy with personal readings. If any of you are interested in scheduling a personal reading with me, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About button for more information and my contact details. You can also find those contact details attached to the description of all my videos. You can email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I do readings that cover every main area of your life. I also do focused readings on love and relationships, of course, romance, career, work, and finance. And I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which are always popular at the beginnings of the year because they look at the energies that are coming in to your life over a 6 or 12-month period of time, depending on how far ahead you want to look. So check those out if you're interested. Turnaround time is pretty fast because I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. So I'm usually able to get back with you the same day or within the first 24 hours of your initial email with more information, and scheduling can be anywhere from a few days upwards of 2 weeks, but almost always within 2 weeks. So check it out if you're interested. For those of you who are not looking for the more in-depth traditional readings, if you just have a quick question or two, you just want, some fast answers, you need to have a decision you need to make quickly, or you want to take a quick look at a relationship, a person, a situation, you can also find me, had a jumper. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy. That link is also with the rest of my contact details. It's a cool smartphone app that puts you in touch with me immediately or fairly quickly, assuming I'm not sleeping or otherwise occupied, of course. You can choose the one question, one answer option, or open it up for a little reading via text, and they also have a video chat option as well. It's fast answers for faster questions if you don't want the more traditional readings. So there's a couple options there for you, and I look forward to hearing back from you for those of you who are interested. Okay, let's move right into this reading. This is for the Earth sign of Virgo for February 2018. I am recording these in the last week of January. Forgive me for being a little raspy. I'm just at the tail end of recovering from a very bad cold bronchial infection thing. It's cold and flu season here in Northern California. Half the people I know are down with some version of it. I'm recovered, but my voice is still kind of raspy, so if I sound squeaky, that's why. All right, make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos for more clarification because these are general readings. There's a lot of you watching. It's going to play out a little differently or resonate in different degrees for those of you watching. Okay, my lovely Earth sign of Virgo. Let's see what February 2018 has in store for you. All right, Virgo, we begin with the King of Pentacles. There you are. Followed by the Empress. We have the Nine of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Cups. We have the Six of Pentacles, followed by the Four of Wands. And at or towards the end of February, we have the Nine of Wands and the Moon. From the bottom of the deck is overall energy and guidance. We have the Five of Swords. Okay, Virgo, it looks like a lot of you are either starting something new, starting a new project. It could be for some of you an artistic or creative endeavor or some kind of project, or you're starting to work on a goal of some kind. It could be maybe starting a new job or thinking about starting a new job, or maybe exploring a new career path. Could be that you're thinking of getting on board with another person or other people. I feel like the focus of whatever this new thing that you're either starting or thinking about starting is in the Pentacles energy, the Pentacles area of your life, the Earth area of your life, because you have more of an abundance of Pentacles here. You have 1, 2, 3 Pentacles, 2 Wands, 1 Cup, and 1 Sword. So it looks like you're building, trying to build, create, manifest something in the Earth energy area of your life, which is your element. In the Tarot, the suit of Pentacles, which we start off with, your energy. Pentacles in the Tarot usually manifest in the earthly, concrete, day-to-day part of your life. Things like money, finance, property, resources, assets, job, etc. The things that we can see and touch and feel in the day-to-day world that we live in. Tangible things. So we begin February, we end January, begin February with the energy of the King of Pentacles and the Empress. So here you are. For some of you, this could be another earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. But I feel like for the majority of you, it's you. And you're initially showing up as a king. Kings and queens represent individuals who have reached the mastery of their suit. So they've learned trial and error. They've matured and grown and evolved beyond the page energy, the knight energy. So this would be somebody who's probably pretty financially savvy, comfortable, good at managing the day-to-day aspects and details of the world that we live in. Solid, stable, reliable. I mean, it's earth energy here. Usually a hard worker, pretty focused, pretty driven. Can sometimes be a little stubborn and rooted because it is earth energy after all. Generous, probably likes comfortable things in life. You know, enjoys the good things and doesn't mind spending money on those things, especially money that they've worked really hard for. Now, it's paired with, and on an energetic level, it represents solidity, stability, particularly in the material sense as well. Now, it's accompanied by the major arcana card of the Empress, which is a card of fertility, sometimes literal fertility in terms of pregnancy or conception. It's usually the green light for beginning new things, planting seeds to begin to grow and manifest something new. So when the Empress shows up, it's often a green light. It's about starting new endeavors, new projects, new jobs, new relationships even, because what does fertility mean? It means that the time is right, the season is right, the temperature is right, the soil is right to plant seeds. We can't see that growth and that germination in the beginning, but we know when it's the right season to plant seeds so that we can begin to grow and manifest something new. It's also a card about self-nurturing, particularly in a more physical, sensual, decadent sense, because the Empress is all about that. She's the traditional Earth Mother of the Tarot. Sometimes this can represent mothers and maternal figures as well. And what I'm kind of getting from this Virgo, especially looking at the rest of the spread, starting something new, there is some cautionary advice here on whether or not you're being realistic about this new thing. And again, I feel like there's more of a focus. It has something to do with, it could be job and career or a financial project or issue of some kind. I feel like a lot of you are, or whatever this new thing is, it represents or symbolizes your branching out on your own, or a goal or hope or desire to be more independent and self-sufficient and self-empowered, particularly in a financial or monetary sense. And that's why you're beginning this new thing or considering starting something new. And I feel like it's, I mean, it could be in conjunction with other people, but the long-term goal or the hope that you have in starting this is that it's going to make you independent or more successful as an individual. But you may not be being all that realistic about it because, or about all the aspects of it. Next we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups. So the Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence, self-sufficiency, self-empowerment. It's a card that represents being at an energy or being at a place where you feel really good about who you are, where you are in life. You're enjoying the fruits of your labors. You've worked really hard, as this woman has, to build up all of these things around her, which she's now enjoying. That imply luxury or just a sense of security, stability, strength, not really needing anybody else. She's worked very hard for everything that she's enjoying. Nobody's handed anything to her on a silver platter. It's sometimes nicknamed the happy, single, successful female card. it could just as easily be male, and it doesn't really matter if it's single or not. If she is single, great. She loves herself, her life, where she's going, how hard she's worked. If she wants to be with someone else, she will be, and she'll take her time choosing it, or he. But she doesn't have that need. She's not reliant or dependent on other people because she's worked very hard to get to a place where she's, you know, she can take care of herself. And there's not a sense of neediness or compulsiveness or reliance or dependence on anybody else, particularly in a financial or monetary sense. Now, it's clarified and accompanied by the Seven of Cups. This is the only cup card you have in your spread, Virgo. And in the tarot, cups is governed by the element of water. Pentacles is earth, so it's that tangible earthly stuff. Cups is water, and in the tarot, this usually manifests in that watery mercurial world of emotions, feelings, relationships. This is the only card of traditional emotion in here. So the focus is on that earthly tangible area of your life, and Wands, which is fire energy, which is about creating and manifesting and building something. The Seven of Cups is a card of, it's often a card of fantasy, distraction, being scattered, illusion, not being grounded, practical, realistic, having multiple options or opportunities, or considering a lot of different potentials, all of which seem impossibly perfect, impossibly beautiful. My analogy for this card, often when I look at this card, I'm kind of reminded of, you know, a young person. One week they may want to be an astronaut, and next week they may want to be a doctor, and then the next week they may want to be something else. Not that any one of those options are not possible, but it's kind of being all over the place and not being focused and definitive and grounded on a particular path or a particular goal. So again, these new beginnings, starting something new, but there is this sense, looking at all of the cards together, Virgo, that you may want to, the cautionary advice is to take another look at anything that you're new, that you're beginning, that you're starting, or that you're thinking about starting, because you may not be looking at every aspect of it you need to in order for it to be successful. It almost looks like you have this entrepreneurial desire to be independent, to not have to work for somebody else, to not have to rely on getting a check or depending on somebody else, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But in choosing a path that's going to lead you to that sense of being independent and self-reliant, particularly in finances and your surroundings, your material life, this feels more like you may be a little scattered, or you may be considering a lot of things, all of which may not be realistic or possible at this time. And you could waste a lot of time and energy kind of, you know, putting your time and efforts and even money and resources into, you know, this next big thing that's going to make you independent or rich or successful, but not really following it through all the way, you know, taking a look at every step down the road before you begin to make significant changes, because you want it to be as successful as possible. So there is this cautionary advice kind of running through this for February. Now next we have the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. This is an interesting combination of cards too. When I first laid them down, I got this bit of a kind of an odd flash about somebody putting too much money into an event like a wedding or something of that sort. And it could be maybe what this is focused around for some of you. It feels very specific to maybe just a person or a handful of people. The Six of Pentacles, so more earth energy here. This is a tit for tat card, a card of equality, equal giving, equal receiving. It's a card that speaks of having a healthy, balanced relationship with money. It can represent that you may be on the giving side. You may be being more generous during the month of February. You may be asked to be giving more, contributing more. You may be the one on the giving side, or you may be the recipient of someone giving something to you. But it's about, the cautionary advice with the Six of Pentacles is about maintaining a balance, particularly with finances, with your resources and materials, because while at first glance it may appear that this man is being very generous, very philanthropic, he's weighing out all of his wealth, he has a lot, he's dressed very well, you know, he's throwing these periodic handfuls of pentacles. to these waiting, grasping hands, but he's not entirely paying attention to where they're going. He's just kind of throwing them out there. So it can be a card that also comes with the advice of paying attention to where you're giving of yourself, whether it's actual dollars and cents or resources, advice, love, effort, time. Although it's often, money and finances and tangible things. You may be being asked to give just more this month, or you may be receiving or asking someone else to give to you this month. Just make sure that it's in kind of a balanced effect, because this is ultimately about having a healthy, balanced relationship with things, with money, with the material things in your life. And it's accompanied by the Four of Wands, which is a celebratory card and can often speak of a celebratory event, like a wedding. This can be something formal like a wedding, an anniversary, a party of some kind. It also reminds us, kind of brings us back to the simple joys of the simple joy of, I can't speak this morning. The simple joy of what it's like to spend time with friends and family that we connect with. The joy and gratitude we have, just the simple pleasures and joy of having friends and family that we can connect with. The simple get-togethers and gatherings. A lot of people, when they plan a get-together or a party, it can kind of get a bit out of hand, particularly if it's some kind of themed thing like a wedding or an anniversary or a birthday party or something of that sort, and get really stressed out, when really it's about coming together, celebrating, enjoying the company of people that you love and that you enjoy and that you connect with. So it can be a card that reminds us of that. It's also often nicknamed the Happy Surprise card, because when the Four of Wands comes up, it usually represents that an unexpected blessing or happy surprise is headed your way, and fairly soon. It's not a card of an indeterminate future. It usually represents something that's coming, and we're looking at February, so within the month of February. Now, the fact that it's clarified by the Six of Pentacles, I am getting, for somebody out there who's watching this, if you're planning some big event or party like a wedding or something like that, don't put yourself into debt over this thing. And it feels a bit disconnected, because it feels like it may not have a lot to do with the rest of this, but it might be. You may be like planning something new, and you feel like you can because you have a fair amount of resources at your disposal. But I'm kind of getting, watch how you're investing in this. Make sure that if you're being asked to contribute to something or spend something, that you're not like going overboard or giving more than is really realistic or necessary for you, that it doesn't hurt you, that you don't go into debt over this thing, because for whoever's out there that this resonates with, it's really not about that, how much flash and stuff that there is in this. It's about if you're planning for a party and you're investing in a party, you're being asked to spend money on a get-together. Remember what the real reason for it is. It's to get together to celebrate and enjoy something in someone's life or each other's company, or a combination of that. And the same if you're on the asking side too. Make sure that you're not asking for more than what you need or what is necessary or what makes sense for whatever this is that you're planning. And it could be that some of you during the month of February, you just need to be careful to maintain a balance with your resources, particularly in connection to friends and family. If you're being asked to give more than you feel that you can or that you should, and you're afraid to say no because of the obligation of the relationship ties. Something just popped up on my screen. Let me get it off. And it could be that some of you are asking for money from friends and family, or receiving money from friends and family, or being asked to give from friends and family to give money towards this new project or new beginning, with the hopeful outcome and goal that it's going to be really successful. Because I'm getting that some of you are trying to branch off on your own, like maybe start your own business or get involved in some kind of project, invest in some kind of project or something that holds a lot of potential, or it's being presented as, oh, this is going to make you so successful and so wealthy, etc. But again, this undercurrent of be careful, there's more to it than I think you're looking at, and do not let the emotion of it, getting caught up in what it might be, allow you to invest and spend more in the hopes of getting to that. This whole concept of you need to spend money to make money, that you need to be realistic and practical about it too, and look at every single thing before you start making significant changes, particularly in the month of February, Virgo, particularly with money, finances, resources, that kind of issue, because it may end up costing you more than it actually pays out. Now, at or towards the end of February 2018, I hope I didn't say 2017. We're still early on into 2018, and I sometimes keep saying 2017. It's 2018. So at or towards the end of February 2018, we have the Nine of Wands and the Moon. So I feel like some of you actually a lot of you actually maybe come to this point at or towards the end of February, time being somewhat fluid, of course. This could be already ongoing for some of you, as I am recording this in the last week of January. So the Nine of Wands is typically a card about pushing through. I often call it the 11th hour card. It's darkest before dawn. That's when it's hardest, is really when you need to push through, because it means that you're almost there. You're almost at the end. 10s represent ends of cycle, culmination, and achievement. So 9s represent you're almost there. There's just this one last hurdle, obstacle that you need to push through, even if you feel tired and overwhelmed. Typically, it's a card about you're almost there. Push through this last hump, this last hurdle, this last delay, this last obstacle. Don't give up. And it could be the case for some of you too, with this new endeavor that you're involved in. And of course you can, while I'm feeling this is more about building and creating and manifesting and trying something new that you're excited about, because there's this fire energy which is building and growing and passion and enthusiasm, and it's focused in something to do with money, finances, projects, real estate, even something, an entrepreneurial energy. That's the elemental focus of energy. Not a lot in emotions and relationships for February. For most of you, you could still translate this energy to relationships. The energy remains the same, even if the specifics and details vary. I feel like there's probably some relationship energy here, maybe even with friends and family involved, but I just don't think it's a month that's, got a big focus on like love and romance. So at the end of the month, there's this sense of maybe trying to push through, wanting to push through, but taking a step back and asking yourself, how do I push through this? Should I push through this? Normally it's a card that says, keep going, you're almost there. And it may be for some of you. It's also, but it's accompanied and clarified by the Major Arcana card of the Moon. Major Arcana cards have, more significant, strong, profound energy than the minor cards, or the pip cards as we call them. Divine timing and orchestration, divine guidance, divine advice. The Moon can be a card of deep spirituality. It represents that there's more under the surface than you can see at first glance as well. So it can represent things being somewhat shadowed, cloudy, even maybe not knowing everything necessarily, just maybe feeling things underneath the surface. Things look very different under the light of the moon than the light of the sun. There's a lot of, shadowy nooks and hidden corners. Things are not always what they appear to be, because there's a lot of things you can't see. It's kind of that deeper sense. So with the Nine of Wands, again, normally with the Nine of Wands, I always feel this, you're almost there. I know that you've run into this thing, but it's important to kind of push through. I'm feeling like for a lot of you, especially with this other kind of cautionary advice in here, you need to take a step back, and it looks like a lot of you do towards the end of February. You need to take a step back and ask yourself, is this worth continuing in? Is this really worth investing in? Is this really worth kind of giving it my all and pushing through? Am I really realistically, on a practical level, going to get what I'm actually hoping to get based on everything that I'm putting into this? Do I know everything I need to know about this situation? Because your overall advice and guidance, this is underscored, your overall advice and guidance for the month is the Five of Swords. This is a card technically of victory. I always say technically because it's a victory which comes at a high cost. And sometimes the cost can be personal relationships, which is sometimes what the people on the ground behind him represents. Sometimes in career or work. This can come up when someone is so driven and ambitious and focused and obsessed with getting ahead that they'll step on anybody to do that. Sometimes it can represent that. It represents a hard-won victory. This man has just finished a battle, a challenge of some kind. He's obviously the victor. His opponents or foes or competitors are on the ground behind him. He's gathered up all their weapons. He's holding his own sword aloft in victory. But the colors are kind of murky and grim and bleak still. Even though he's won, he's tired, worn out, exhausted. He's bleeding from a little cut on his forehead. It's a battle which has cost a lot. The accompanying advice and question with the Five of Swords is this worth it? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it represents maybe the energy in February is that you've pushed through this, and even though it was hard and it came at a high cost, you really feel like it's worth it. When this card comes up, it's always a question to re-examine something. So there may be something in there that you're missing. Is this endeavor worth it? Are you being realistic and grounded about it? Are you examining everything before you go charging in and start spending of yourself, money, resources, time, experience? The goal looks so much like what you want. You want to be independent and empowered and self-reliant and successful. And you're so focused on that you skip the details or you gloss over the details on what it's actually going to take to get there. So is it really realistic? Do you know everything that you need to know is kind of the question I get repeated. This may end up costing you more in the long run than it's actually worth and what the payoff would be. Again, it's a general reading. So it's going to vary. Some of you, it may be worth it. Some of you, it may not. There is a sense of looking at everything. Be careful with your money over the month of February, Virgo. Be careful about giving out too much, especially if you're being asked to. Be careful about, taking too much, particularly if it's in regard to, a social event or a party or some big a thing that you're planning, because even though those things are lovely and it's important, we like things to be nice, especially things like weddings and stuff like that. Remember what it's really about. Again, I feel that it's like for someone watching this video. I feel like for the month of February, Virgo, that you should be careful not to make any major decisions or changes, at least until the end of the month for most of you, or towards the end of the month, because and just read the fine print. That's always a good source of advice, right? Especially if it's anything that is in relation to money, contracts. Make sure you read everything, you look at everything, you consider what could go wrong, and if it does, what would you do if it did? What would be the plan in case things go, haywire, or if this doesn't work out, or if this takes longer, what's the safety catch, what's the plan, instead of just kind of charging ahead. So that's pretty much it, Virgo. That wraps up your February 2018 general reading. Yeah, interesting. I still keep getting this entrepreneurial, like some of you are trying to start a new business or something. It's interesting. Okay, Virgo. So I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the February 2018 mid-month readings. And again, if any of you are interested in scheduling a personal reading with me, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About button for more information, details, and my contact info, which you can also find attached to the description of every video I post. Email me directly at Maggie1McGuire. I would be delighted to work with you, set up a reading with you as quickly as we can. And for those of you who are looking for a quicker connection, just for, some fast answers to a quick question or two, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy. I will see you all again soon. Take care. As always, I wish you a joyful, peaceful, blessed, happy life. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care, Virgo. Bye-bye.